Oh, there we go. Yo, you're sideways.
Okay, now
There we go.
there we go.
So you
Okay.
the hair. Is that the quarantine look?
It is. It is. I don't know if you can peep the flag on the
Oh
wall.
my
You know what it
gosh.
is. You know what it is. First time caller, long time listening. Oh my God, yo! I'm not gonna lie to you. Ever since I found out about this, I was like, I'm gonna say that.
I mean, you know, being Christian and all, we should be sharing the good news. So I feel like I may have been doing people wrong to not be sharing the good news.
Listen, memeing was a love language. I don't know what you call giffitize. Giffitize is
the sixth love language.
Honestly, whoever created the program, I hope that the Lord lets him in. I mean, believe in Jesus now. Believe in Jesus. But hey, man, let my man's in.
That Abraham prayer, you know, spare the righteous if there be but one.
If there be but one. Just one. Yo, look at somebody.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God. Yes, sir. They have a hoodie.
I didn't know we could wear hoodies.
I'm not letting the hair show right now, Chief. I
man, just don't go by George Zimmerman. That's all I gotta say.
I need.
Ray, it's too soon, Ray. Too soon.
I need a Bible translation.
Yo, honestly, think about how many people we can preach the gospel to.
Yo,
is Eddie setting up his little thing?
It's already set up. I think he's just away from the camera. Otherwise,
you know he is.
Man, I'm actually reading through like the Bible right now. I'm doing like a Bible in the year plan, and yo, like there's like going through Genesis again. Like stuff really was different back then, dog. Like
big time.
Just reading about what was it? What Noah's daughters did.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, listen, we think females are wild now with OnlyFans. Okay, you know, there's certain stories you hear, and you're just like, that's not us.
Oh my
God! Oh my gosh! This is the second week in a row. Eddie used to come on late. And he come on looking like he was trying to get nice for the camera.
No, I was on time, but I went to go use the bathroom.
Say less.
At 3 o'clock.
Hey, listen, they stocked up on toilet paper for a reason.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, now that the gang is all here, this is round 2 of Ray of Wisdom. We got the boy Josiah hoodied up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got Eddie
can't show the hair.
And we have a new man with a high top, which I really wasn't expecting when I first saw it.
Oh, the girls, my guy.
Yes, sir.
Another Haitian in the building. He's a Ohio State fan. You can show the flag. You can move your arms.
You see it? You know what's going on. You see it?
We don't know what's going on.
Ray, before we start, though, I have to say this. From watching the last video, it hurt me dearly that you brought up Kobe as a question. It's still too soon to discuss my man's. Okay? It's too soon. Let us grieve properly. We need the whole year.
We
need the whole year.
So we just gonna start with sports, as you all know, because you should have looked at the questions that I sent y'all. Do we overvalue sports? So I'm gonna drop the stat first. The stat says 72% yes. This is the Instagram poll. 72% yes, we do overvalue sports. Now, what do y'all say?
I wouldn't say it's overvalued because it would just be as just like if you had a hobby and you did your hobby all the time. Are you overvaluing your hobby? No. Like the only thing I would say that's overvalued is how much we pay them, because teachers get paid less and they are the ones that, you know, give the kids knowledge for the generations. But players, I'm not saying they don't deserve money, but the 200 million, 20 million, 30 million, what?
I would have to say about like money-wise, but then again, you got to realize that sports is also entertainment as much as people love it. But in terms of overvaluing, I guess it depends on where you see sport is, like the sport is, because you can see a lot of kids and all that, they rely on the sports, one, to get them out their situation.
Man, honestly, I'd have to say no on both accounts. Financially speaking, think about it. Like in California, that teacher in Florida is not getting that money. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, but a California fan can pay into the Miami Dolphins franchise when he buys a jersey from their website. So financially, what we're all paying into sports is why Steph Curry gets a $130 million guaranteed contract. Because as we saw from Kobe's contribution to the world, most of it was done on the court. So sports is not overvalued, but it can seem overvalued for someone who doesn't care about sports. Sports is a lot bigger than what we give it, but at face value, it's just like you dribble a ball. Think about Hurricane Katrina. Drew Brees said that Louisiana, the state, New Orleans, needed the Saints that season. They were playing for something bigger than themselves because that's all the people had were the Saints. That's all they had to be proud of. So sports is a vehicle like anything else, used to inspire, used to educate, but also used to propel people to new heights, which is what Kobe showed us, the Saints showed us, and countless other athletes in their craft. It's used to propel and to inspire.
I guess my only gig with sports is like what the consumers put into it. The money that is being put into it has made it into something that I think has maybe the value that it maybe should for the people who kind of make this thing go, which, I mean, players are the ones that make sports go. They give that product. But it might actually be bigger than what consumers need it to be. The money that there is going into sports now, especially looking at this current coronavirus situation and how there are people that have to risk their lives for the world to continue at the snail's pace that is going now, and they get paid what they get paid compared to what people in sports are being paid, who have as much respect for those people in their fields as they do for what they do. Because I think most athletes realize that what they do is still a sport. The discrepancy in value, I think, compared to what these things offer to daily life, is kind of problematic, because value in a way always comes back to money. And the money situations are just different, man. All right, next we are sliding over to pop culture. Have we gone too far with social media? Survey says 88% yes.
Boom gang. All of these crazy people, bro.
He brought a book.
Hey, he's changed. He's a changed man. He's a changed man.
No, that's what I was gonna say. That's why I brought up Boom first. I was just watching a video on YouTube, and he was like, it was like a video said, I think it said message to all my fans, and like you can tell like he like the growth and stuff like that, and then he was admitting like the things that he was doing on social media. It like
It's for the clout.
not that he regrets it, but like he learned a lot from it because he was doing those things to please other people than to please himself. So with social media, especially like Tekashi and all these people, they know that negativity gets attention.
Facts.
What does it give you in the end? I think we do go overboard on social media, even the things we post. Like, but some girls I've talked to, like some of my female friends,
Lord,
they said that they wouldn't post certain things unless they knew it was gonna get likes. So they're not posting it because they actually want to post it and share it, but they're only posting it in a certain way, or maybe revealing more of this, more of that, because they know they're gonna get likes from it or attention from it, not because they actually want to post that. So I'm saying, like, is your social media for you or is it for everybody else?
you know, there's a lot of people that put their business out on social media, and which for me is like really, really personal. Like, oh, I just came up on a rack. Okay, bet. Now everybody looking at, oh, homie got a rack. Hell, son.
Black forces activate.
This kind of irks me a little bit. A lot of people post when bad things are happening in their relationship. I hate that he always does this. ... Everybody and their mama like, yo, you good? You all right? Like they want that social media validation.
Mm-hmm.
They want the validation from other people so they can feel better about themselves.
I do agree, but I want to look at it in maybe like a different scope.
Go ahead.
Has social media gone too far? It's almost like, for me to ask that question, I'm standing at where social media wasn't a thing, and I look at where social media now is like, whoa, this is way far, because I'm standing in that spot. But it's like, could we ever go back? Social media is what's keeping people sane right now in this quarantine. You know what I'm saying? Social media is how we're connected with each other. Social media is like how we're still, you know, able to interact without physically interacting. Like it's life now. Has it gone too far? Yes, if I'm looking at it from back in like dial-up days, like AOL, you got mail type days.
Bro,
But if I'm looking at it now, it's almost like a life source, but sources can be abused. Humans are never good with complacency. It's innately in us. We want more out of things. And like me personally, I don't like to ask for help. I used to be,
felt
I'm
that.
still kind of that person, like, I'd rather go down with the ship, you know, small violin playing, I'll die with the ship
I'm right there with you, brother.
than to go out and ask for help. But more and more I'm realizing, yo, like I'm gonna die with that mentality. Like I won't thrive, I won't prosper. Like it's almost like I'm living on borrowed time with that. I don't want help. But sometimes, man, like I will break my back to figure it out how to do something before I call him. Sometimes it's just like you don't know who really cares or who has time for your problems.
Right.
But if I be like, yo, like my relationship is draining me, my relationship is toxic, and sometimes it'd be like, oh, like you say this every day, but and then you'll see a comment and be like, yo, sis, like you know it's bad, like take the leap of faith. You don't know what it's gonna look like, but leave that relationship. Or you know, I'm having a tough time with this transition in life, and sometimes they won't hit them up, but they'll text them. And I've done that. You know, I see my friends put stuff out on social media, and I don't comment on your joint right there. If I have your number, I text you, or I DM you, and be like, yo, what's going on? So it gets abused, it gets exploited, but this is life now.
So they're posting something out there to get the validation, and it's like it's seeming like a cry for help. Oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. And then sometimes when you hit them up, they don't even reply. So did you actually want to apply for somebody to hit you up and see if you're good, or just wanted to see how many people are going to hit you up?
That's why I have my friends around me, right? Like people that I know that live in my area that I'm close with, or friends that are close. Like, for example, Ray knows there's times where I've hit him up and he's in the lab, the science lab. I'm like, yo, Ray, I need to talk. Knowing that he could come over, right? Yes, we're in a quarantine part, but like, for example, there's certain people that I would hit up because I know the type of advice or the type of advice I need. There's a lot of people online that you don't know. This is a 1-2 situation, A, B, C conversation. It should not be A and the rest of the alphabet on the outside. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like social media has now been seized as a way to get attention. And I feel like this quarantine actually, to Neff's point, has made us use social media for the first reason it was created. And it's taken, well, since Facebook, I guess you could say about 15 years and a worldwide pandemic for us to get social media and use it the way it was supposed to be used from the jump. And it's like we're all psychologists without even knowing it. People know how easy it is to now manipulate others on social media. So they just do it for whatever personal reasons they have. And then that gets mixed in with all the genuine use of social media. What is like the proper use of social media? And for me, like to Eddie's original question, my social media is for me. Like I put my daily snaps, which I haven't done one for the day yet. I probably might do that during this call actually. No shade at any of y'all,
Lacking.
but like all this stuff that I do, like it's just for me. And when I put on social media, it's like I'm sharing myself with y'all. But like if y'all don't validate it, like it's all good. I mean, I have literally like boys like y'all, and I have my family and other people that are rocking with me regardless.
Because and this might be controversial, but it's like even as a Christian, like we're looking for validation, and you know we'll be like, you know, Jesus already validated you when he died on the cross, but like innately we're all looking for validation. I don't know if y'all boys have ever been in like a situation where it's just like it's just you, man, and it's just like people just like, yo, I'll pray for you and God got you, and they're just like, oh, I don't really think I need it. I don't really want his validation. I don't really want his validation right now. Like I want someone else. I don't know if Jesus's validation applies to this right now. And it's just weird, like how we get caught up in that cycle, man. It's dangerous.
Okay,
People
so then you can say validation for the right things and from the right people.
And there's also that good validation. Like you see like certain people out in everybody like go out to the street and like, oh yeah, I gave money to this old man, like videotaping and all that stuff. It's for validation. Like,
I hate that.
Cut. You didn't smile how big enough. Wait, redo that. Redo that. You didn't smile big enough. Let's go.
Yo,
Let me get that money back.
Let
me get that money back.
No, run it back. Take two. Low key, I feel the same way about like mission trips and stuff. Like I know people take pictures and videos to inspire other people, but part of me is just like, man, like do you really need to take a picture of yeah, today we're out in the village and we're feeding these kids, and it's just like, just do the work, man. You thought when Jesus got out here, anyway. No, but it's just like, like when the disciples went out, do you think like one of them was casting out demons, the other one was like writing down?
No, if we had social media in the Bible days, James and John saying, you know how much shade they would be throwing saying that we are Jesus' favorite and not Peter? You know how much shade Peter would get?
Twitter, they're gonna be Twitter, I'm Jesus' favorite, man. Don't care what y'all say. Peter, all y'all could go kick rocks.
James is like, I'm Jesus' top two disciples, and I ain't number two. Peter taking a picture with that sword, like got that thing.
Subtweet. and then one of them, Peter about to die, be like, I do this for Christ. Type be like, come on, G.
Okay.
This is a bad one, but Judas is like, I'm finna catch a lick right now, son. I'm about to get mad gold and silver, boy.
Honestly, it would have been wild. Like, think about it, like, David, the Dance Like David challenge. Listen. You got that don't rush. That what was it? Put your back in it. Yeah, David started that first. Threw his whole outfit off.
That's funny.
Yeah, coming to these courts with Thanksgiving means something else.
Got me crying on here. Thank God this ain't a high definition camera. They see the tears. We are moving into lifestyle. Can people change? Survey says 87% yes. 4 yeses. 4 yeses. All right.
Hey,
all right. So people could change. All right. So the next question: should you hold someone's past actions against them if they've changed in that regard? Stats on this one are 67% no. So you shouldn't hold their past against them. Yeah.
So here's the thing with that. Like, yes, people can change, but at the same time, you still need to keep your guard up in terms of what somebody has done before. I will hope everything is great with you and all that stuff, but like,
keeping your distance.
I don't want you getting close again like that.
So that my quick analogy I've used in conversation before, it's been about talking about America and stuff. And I tell people, y'all realize America is still the only country to drop an atomic bomb on another country. People will not mess with America because America is still the only country to do that. If I go up to Josiah and I try to fight him, hey man, you're not going to swing, and I've never seen Josiah swing, then I'm justified in doing that because I don't know if he can. I don't think he can. If I go up to Conor McGregor and say the same thing, you won't swing, knowing who this man is, that whole L is on my plate. I have a heart to forgive people, but I mean, like, you forgive, and I think you can try to forget anger, the hard feelings, maybe. The action itself, you have to account for. When someone does something for the first time, you're like, wait, you can do that? Like, that changes things. Like, I was out in Loma Linda, I was playing in this basketball tournament, white kid went for a dunk, threw it down. I didn't know he could dunk. That changed the whole game. I was like,
I didn't know he could do that.
I didn't know my man could do this.
You can forgive, but don't forget. That's it. So yes, I don't think it's right to hold someone for their past actions if they've changed, but don't also forget what they did or what they can do.
From my scope of my belief, there was one time I was listening while I was in Florida. I caught New Life. Shout out to Ray, always dropping the links. And Pastor Janelle, I got to address it correctly. Shout out to her, Pastor Janelle. She was preaching a message about the prodigal son. And she's like, one of the things that we often forget is that not only did the father forgive him, but the father restored. I could count on my fingers how many times I've actually restored that person. Like, God doesn't treat me that way. Like, forgive, but don't forget. Like, he actually forgets. Like, there's actual restoration there. Like, when David did his whole stint with Bathsheba, like, part of the consequences wasn't like, all right, man, like God's like, I forgive you, but you can't be on no rooftops no more. But God's like, yo, you paid there's a consequence for the action. This is true. As you forgive someone, there should be a consequence for the action. But at the same time, we have to work. The hard part is working towards that restoration. There's maybe some people I said I forgive him, but until I give them that opportunity, here's the thing: when you try to restore somebody, it's not a forced action. Restoration is a big thing in forgiveness. Me and Michael have been talking about that now, just kind of like resetting ourselves a little bit to kind of like wipe the slate clean. Because in order to hit that next level that we're trying to hit in our relationship, we can't be coasting, or we can't just be so readily to bring up things of the past. I think restoration actually brings about the forgetting. I understand. Don't be naive. Like, bro, if the first time I went to Josiah's house and I leave, Josiah's like, where's my wallet? And then, he finds out I take it or whatever. Next time I'm at Josiah's house, Josiah's be like, yo, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm going to need you to step out the room and lock the door real quick. Like, he can do that. He can do that if he's not yet comfortable in order to put me in that position to where he's able to trust me. It's a two-party thing. Like, we each have to put in effort. You have to rebuild that trust. You also have to give that opportunity for that trust to be.
I've done my part. I reached out. To be honest, there was going to be no reaching out unless I did it.
But it takes like a lifetime to master. There's certain situations where there's a lot of situations to where that person should not be allowed in that position anymore. Especially if it comes to like the people you love, your family, your wife, your brother, your sister. If something was done to them that was so heinous, even, and how much more in the physical sense, how can you truly restore that person and feel comfortable about it? And to be honest, I don't have the answer to that. But I do know that God consistently, like, if God has impressed you to keep reaching out as hard as it is, you should think about it. Let's leave it there, because that's where I am in my mind. I'm being honest with you. I'm there in my mind. Yeah. I'm not gonna do it. Lord, I know you're telling me to do it, but I'm gonna let this one go to voicemail. You know what I'm saying? So,
Pastor Polite, shout out to Pastor Get Buckets Polite. You know what I'm saying?
The goats.
Buckets, the sham.
Boy, Justice got his ankles took that game.
Hey, we don't need to bring that up.
What fault?
We just
all love, Justice. All. But Pastor Polite, there was one. What was it called again? What's the Friday night Vespers, whatever? Impact. Sorry, Dan, it's been a while. Relax. It's been a while.
That long?
It's been a while. It's been like 2 years, bro. Relax.
It's been a few Fridays.
You need to bring out. Hold on one second.
Go ahead.
That phone bill.
Right. There's a moment in time where Pastor Polite was like, look, you need to, hold on. Oh, actually.
Oh, that's fine.
One second. One second.
Oh, this commercial is brought to you by the Spirit of Prophecy. Read it or you're going to hell.
For me, I guess it's maybe easy, so to speak, to like forgive and kind of say like, look, we're cool. For me, like, you have to remember what happened, and you just have to know it's a possibility, but not live in fear of that. I don't know if you've heard the question, but like, people have kind of historically looked at how the heck did Germany become Nazi Germany? Like, I saw a tweet on Twitter recently. It was something about love, but not opening up fully. I'm like, well, I guess you'll never experience true love. To experience the more vulnerable you are, the deeper the depth of love you can experience. That relationship, if it's always hindered by something, then it will never really get to be Well, what it could be.
But then sometimes it's just that certain people are meant for only certain chapters of your life.
Well, that gets a reaction from me. I gotta drop the hand clap for that one.
No. That's fact. That's fact. Uses people like that. I don't think God purposely puts like evil or toxic people in our life, and they're like, all right, let's see if you can forgive. But no, I don't think God does that. But it is useful.
Neff, how you just gonna throw the lob for the next question like that? Or are you a point guard now?
Oh,
You a point guard? You throwing lobs like that now?
no. Hey, big man got to be able to do everything.
Big man gotta do everything.
Yeah, exactly.
NBA 2020. No,
Yeah,
but the next part is faith, and the question is, should God allow bad things to happen? 85% say yes. So I'll jump in. The chaplain seems very distraught because this is kind of one of the popular questions that Christians get. I think it's actually a pretty straightforward formula. Human free will means that there can be no imposed rule. There can be no imposed rule or no forced order on human behavior. Different people have different definitions of what bad is. God has to allow bad things to happen in order to not infringe on our free will. So that's the simplest reason I think that God has to allow it, because if he controls it, then he doesn't allow us free will. And then for us being Adventists with the great controversy thing, if God controls it, then Satan's like, ha, told y'all.
Never thought of it that way. I like that.
You know what the conundrum is? You know what the hardest thing I think for any Christian to do every day in their life? You have to believe in a God that can do everything, but can let anything happen. You sing all these songs, you read all these verses, you have these personal experiences, but even sometimes the trivial things, like God didn't stop. And you're just like, you took your 15, like what's going on? Like thousands of people probably die of cancer and they prayed sincere prayers for God to save them. Was that really what's best? And then it's just like, when you get to heaven, everything will be made clear. And it's just like, you have to have enough faith to wipe the tears. That's what a pastor I was listening to said. You have to have enough faith to wipe the tears. During this whole virus epidemic, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go. And a lot of people are going to be asking God the same thing. Why did you let this happen? Where were you? That's what I'll finish. That's the best way I can describe that. And it does seem messed up. And this is why faith can't be logical. There's no logical reason for us to technically believe in a God that can pick and choose when he puts his will into play. But this is why we have faith.
Welcome back, Josiah.
Yeah, my fault. I had to go help my grandfather or something.
Oh, word.
Oh, facts. Shout out to the OG.
Shout out to Ryan and Cam. They have this Bible study that they're doing, and we're going over Job.
Oh,
We're going over Job.
The epitome.
Bro, if you look
Wow.
at the things that happened to my man, like, and then you hear people that said they didn't believe in God praying, like really praying right now. And I'm just like, wow. And it's crazy because my pastor at that time, he took down their phone numbers, and he's in contact with them today. They're at church. like they're at church and they're active in their church.
If humans knew God would stop everything, that would get abused instantly.
Of course.
Yeah.
So now, I'm not going to be a parent that's going to be like, oh yeah, my kid can like burn himself one time just to like learn what it's like or something. I think I'm going to step in, but like you can't stop everything, because in this world it's not realistic. So in a way, God is almost more in tune with our world than we realize, because in this world we don't do that for our kids. Some things have to go, and in a way it get annoying. He's gonna go from his definition of bad. His definition of bad will stop a lot of people in their tracks with the stuff they try to do on a daily basis. And then they'd be like, God, I don't really like this version of you as much either. Can we go back to the freedom side? I think for him, free will is the biggest thing to uphold, because free will is even where love originates from. You can't even have love without free will, because love you have to choose to do. But for us, we just live in a world, where it's like, okay, well, we always do certain things. We don't really know why, but we don't have any other choice in what we actually do. So nothing bad would ever happen, but it would be like the Eden before eating the fruit from the tree of good and evil. We don't know what the difference is.
God didn't spare not one of Job's kids, but God spared the servants to come tell him the bad news. But the servant got to escape.
Hey, but if you think about it though, yeah, because they weren't part of it. They didn't even decide to come with him to do the burnt sacrifices with him. You know what I'm saying?
Do our parents for us and pray for us when we're doing all our crazy stuff, but we still, you know?
Exactly.
The shenanigans.
Are you speaking French?
Oh, you speak French now? Some people just like, oh, I'd never be Job's wife. As soon as I read that story, I'm like, I'm Job's wife. Because I imagine what has been hard in my life, where I felt like God should have intervened and he didn't. And I just kind of like, man, like it's not even. I went through a period where I was going to church because I live in a Caribbean parent home. I can't
felt that.
I don't pay bills there. That's my bill to go to church. But I was just a body in a pew. But I really didn't believe in the joint no more. But nobody really knew because I still go. You lost 10 kids. Like I know people who have lost one kid who have just never recovered. And it's to think that I would still have some sort of loyalty to God when he could have stopped this stuff. But Job's answer, and Job said, woman, your words are foolish. For if God gives us good things, comma, should we not expect the bad? And I heard the commentary, but Job's wife, honestly, is me.
I felt that.
Like
Hashtag I'm Job's wife.
Mm.
We'll drop that one on the video. Is this virus that bad? Now 55%.
Uh oh.
55%.
The medical people answer this one. Let the medical people answer this.
Yeah, right. I might need to slide out of this one, G.
There's a lot of manipulation in the news, so it's not as bad. And literally, there's facts with actual real numbers saying that less people have died from COVID-19 than the seasonal flu every year. So why is it that we didn't shut down everything in the whole world when the flu was killing more people, but we closed everything down when COVID's killing?
I feel like the virus is bad mainly because of the publicity. And don't get me wrong, people are dying from it. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, no.
People are dying from the virus. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are like scared straight because of not only what they're seeing, but also what they're hearing. Florida opened up its beaches.
Boy, they were on the beaches in that park.
Florida opened a beach, and before 30 minutes was even up, it was already packed.
Boy, I think they were waiting out there like when the Xbox 360 first dropped.
Y'all gotta be smarter than that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
and they're putting up all these 5G. I know people conspiracy theories, blah blah blah. It's not a conspiracy theory if I'm showing facts. It can't be a theory if it's a fact. Being sick, of course, yes, there's flu, blah blah blah. But me personally, what I think that's what it is. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just.
If you're gonna have to take them headphones out, dog.
Oh, FBI came and got him.
Right.
What you doing, dog?
It was like you was preaching on the Zoom call. We finna get you.
So I feel like there's two different situations, and I'm not exactly sure how they might be related. Like every country in the world has it, even in places where they don't even have like up-to-date technology, let alone technology anything close to 5G. So I don't know what the relationship between these things are. This virus itself, the name of it, I think is scary because of the nature of it. So they say it can travel in droplet form. It can stay on surfaces and be there for days, possibly up to a week, depending on the environment.
The stuff the information that they're getting to diagnose these things doesn't just sound right. Because now they're saying 6 feet is not enough. They want to put it to 13 feet. A doctor is saying nothing can travel that far. 13 feet? You guys know how far 13 feet is?
That's a bit much.
It's 40, like current range, my guy.
So many
I know we've all been around someone that sneezed, and you saw that blast, and you was just like, "Oh my Lord!" Like like the light hit the sneeze right, and you just like, "Oh no!"
I just want to, like, bro, like, nah, man, like, bro. I know we've all been around somebody that sneezed, and you just felt like the wetness didn't touch you, but it's just around. And I'm just like, all right, you remember when you used to do something, and then like your parent is right there, and then you look at the parent, and it's just like that, like that's how the boy. All right, continue, Ray. I'm sorry.
I think the fear of it might be worse than the actual situation. I do think the virus situation itself is bad. I think the virus situation itself is bad only because most medical systems aren't really built to deal with this kind of thing. But I think even though it's bad, I think the fear of it has just taken people to crazy levels. I mean, we talked about, people fighting over toilet paper and stuff. Like, now they do say this virus might become normalized. And this isn't even the first iteration of the virus. It's actually called the novel virus because it's existed for at least 6 years on record, apparently. That being said, I do think it's going to die down fairly soon, just because of how fast it's been going.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting that video right there. I think we do see the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I'm scheduled to be back in America 2 months from now.
Hoping to be back in 2 months. I hope so.
Now, this question originated from my own personal preference. So I'm automatically a yes on this one. Well, the original question was, am I weird for liking my ice pops to melt to drink them? And 57% of people say yes to that. I am weird.
Ice cream and you let it melt and you drink it?
I like ice cream if it melts a little bit. Oh, ice pop.
Yeah.
No, but he said ice pop.
The final question is, we're talking about the plastic flavored juice.
Oh, man, I agree. Let it melt a little bit.
It got melt.
I'm down with letting it melt a little bit, man.
Okay, no, but you said to let it fully melt and like juice, you're drinking it.
Sometimes, I let it melt too long and I end up drinking it, which I think is like a refreshing drink. But 57% of people said I'm weird for liking it to melt. So,
I mean, I've had it melt before. I mean, to be honest, it's just an ice pop, my guy.
You just got to get on the other side of that freezing point,
right?
you know what I thought you were talking about was the round ones, and I started laughing because on Twitter they're just like men aren't allowed to eat like circular things, and it brought me back to that dude like how straight men eat bananas. You see him break it off, just like.
Yeah, you like Dyson Thunders.
So I was like, yo, this is how Ray's like, I don't want to do all that, so I'm gonna let it melt.
Hey, look, man, I can tell you something.
sunflower
I've
seeds.
never had brain freeze with my method. That's the last question. Kept it kind of light.
So I prefer ice pops.
Helping the environment.
Ice cream, like vanilla or cookies and cream.
Cookies
You gotta melt that, bro. I put that in the microwave a little bit. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
Yo, what did Eddie just tell you about radiation?
Wait,
use
so
the torch
ice
blower.
cream in the microwave now?
I've done it. I've definitely done
I
that.
know people who do that.
I've definitely done that. Because sometimes it's too hard to scoop the ice cream out. There's times I've seen people put the scoop in the microwave, and then there's just me. I've seen let it hot so it can dig into the ice cream. But there's me. I dig it out and I put a little bit just to melt a little bit.
I mean, if you really want your ice cream that fast, if it's that frozen, I just let it sit on the counter for like 10 minutes and come back.
10 minutes? That thing melted.
No, not if it's like McDonald's ice cream. That would never melt.
That's not ice cream.
McDonald's food is questionable.
It's not ice cream. It's a McFlurry.
Hey.
Like I want Haitian patties. Wait, I don't know if Neff knows this drink. Of course, you should know Akasan. Haitian patty with Akasan.
I actually don't vibe with Akasan. I know it is.
That is blasphemous.
It is.
I don't really vibe with it.
Yeah, just get shot.
Bro, the background glitched for a second.
So yeah, guys, try to take Malta and then mix it with milk. It sounds crazy. Trust me, your life will change.
I don't think that's gonna work with it, Chief.
But I'm gonna try that soon because I haven't tried that yet. But usually,
soy milk got body.
So I might do that soy milk.
Word to Lizzo.
It'll taste good, guys. Trust me.
What you on?
You gotta go. You got to go.
You haven't even
Try so hard.
Yo, I was trying to hold it.
That's trying so hard. Laugh.
Florida then.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we either taking a West Coast trip or East Coast trip. Well, actually, I guess
Well, I
Neff
mean-
both already.
Well, we gotta. I don't know what's Eddie doing. Eddie, what are your plans? Well, do any of us know the plans for the summer?
Yeah,
We don't
we
know
don't
what's
know
going on.
He's gonna be with his girl.
Yeah, yeah, Eddie got some.
I'm gonna be here. Yo, you guys don't start. I'm gonna be here.
Gonna pull up on
There's
your
no
girl.
semester in terms of like going to class. Like I think they said everything's online for summer semester. So
Yeah, they moved everything online for summer.
I'm gonna be doing that. I'm just gonna be here. I don't think I'm gonna be going to New York per se because there's like everything's closed down. Well, I don't know if there's gonna be the quarantine border still thing up. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think anybody really knows.
Man, get your sleep, my guy.
All right, y'all.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Be easy.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir.
gentlemen.
Peace.
I'll catch y'all.
peace.
Peace.